What's up, everybody? We are now only 2 weeks away from the Leaving the Theater live show, and I really hope to see all of you there on February 11th at the Miracle Theater here in Washington, D.C. The theme is love on screen, and we'll have a night of comedy, storytelling, and discussions of love in all of its forms in television and film. Tickets are currently on sale, and the link to them and details about the night are available in our show notes. So you probably know by now, but we have one discount code left, and it's only available to members of the Patreon. That discount is 50% off, and that's available until we sell out of tickets. I've posted the discount code in Patreon, so if you'd like to join, that link is also in our show notes. All right, for today's review, we're featuring a guest making their show debut, and there are panelists that will be at the live show. We had a great time seeing today's movie, which is Missing. I'm Ronald Young Jr., and I'm leaving the theater. All right, this is Ronald, and I am leaving the theater after seeing Missing. Missing, written and directed by Will Merrick and Nick Johnson, starring Storm Reid, Joquim de Almeida, Joaquim de Almeida, Ken Leung, now I'm going to mess up everyone's name, Amy Landecker, Daniel Henney, and Nia Long. For a complete cast listing, as usual, you could go to the link in my show notes. I am not here alone.
Oh, hi.
I am here with
Daisy Rosario.
Daisy Rosario. That name might sound familiar to those of you that have been paying attention. My friend and colleague, we just saw Missing together. Let's go down this way.
Yeah.
We just saw Missing together. This is a movie. It is from the Searching universe, for those of you that have seen it. In Searching, John Cho is looking for his missing daughter, and it is a movie that is entirely played out on his computer screen and through his phone and through his technology. This is a standalone sequel wherein Storm Reid is searching for her mother, who is missing. Entire movie, again, plays out on her Mac computer. And, yeah, that's pretty much the plot of the movie.
That is.
Daisy, what did you think?
I enjoyed watching it. I don't know that I'll ever need to see it again, but I really enjoyed watching it, which honestly, I didn't know what it was.
Yeah.
I did not know what it was at all. I enjoyed Searching, and part of what I really enjoyed about Searching was just like how technically well done it is. Like, they do a good job of really making it seem seamless, the way that they're like shooting through the screen, and everything seems very realistic, and they did a great job with that here too. So I was immediately pulled in. And I guess similar to that, besides the fact that they're looking for someone, like, the cast is really good, you know? Like, I mean, it's not a great movie, but it's definitely like worth a watch. It's enjoyable.
Yeah, I feel the same. Like, so admittedly, this is the second time I've seen this movie.
Okay.
And I saw it the first time, and I missed the first 30 minutes of it.
Oh,
Yeah.
dang.
So watching it this time, I'm like, okay, this is a complete movie. And I think the circumstances under which we watched it gave it a little bit of a boost.
Oh my God.
Do you want to talk some about that?
Yeah, there were a lot more people in that theater than I was expecting.
Yes.
And they were ready to watch that movie.
And they were ready to have a communal experience.
A communal experience. That was...
Yeah, like what's happening behind
Like,
us.
what's happening? I think that's some of them. It might even be as teens. There were teens.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, there was a guy sitting in our row who was just full on speaking back to the screen at full regular volume.
Yeah.
Caught a glimpse of him on the way to the bathroom at the end of the movie, by the way. He had a weird mustache.
Okay, that makes sense.
Which makes sense. But yeah, I mean, in terms of like a thriller, you know, there's this mystery happening. I mean, I just really still can't get over kind of how impressive I find their technical skill, in the sense of the way it's alive on screen, the way you're watching everything that's happening through the screen. I mean, there's not moments where you're cutting to, a regular shot. Like, they always are justifying the view that they're taking in terms of, like, the literal, like, point of view of which camera or which app or whatever. And I mean, that part, honestly, is just so technically well done.
Yeah.
Like,
I will say they cheat a little bit because they do this thing where they kind of leave the FaceTime camera up on the computer,
yes.
which people don't do. And then they did it a couple times.
They want us to assume that the teens do.
Yeah, and you know what? And now my immediate question is, if there's any teen listeners to leave in the theater, is this something that y'all do? Because that feels unsafe.
That does feel very unsafe, which actually the movie shows that it's unsafe.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, like, just really, like, Storm Reid is just, I enjoy Storm Reid.
Yeah.
Like, she's lovely and, like, she sells it.
Yeah.
And Nia Long is the mom. I'm literally, like, pro Nia Long in all situations.
It was good to see Nia Long in something like this as well because, normally when we see Nia Long, we're seeing her in a black movie, if we're being honest. And this was a mainstream movie with black people, which I'm like, yes, get her in these. She's a great actor. And I'm like, I want to see her in more stuff. And this was, she really carried her weight in this with Storm Reid, even though Storm Reid was really the lead. But seeing, like, Nia Long be there, a veteran actor holding it down, was, like, really good.
There's some plot points. I often think when I'm watching movies, like, one of the things that gives movies away is the disparity of hotness between the male actor and the female lead. Yeah. And that for me was, like, a big thing in the most recent Scream movie, for example. Yes. Like, I was immediately like, this man ain't good enough.
Yeah,
like,
that's not him.
No, like, come on. So similarly, it was kind of like, okay, Nia Long. And there was even some lines early in the movie where I felt like, are you trying to convince me this man is attractive enough for Nia Long? Like, But I mean, I thought all the actors really are charming and their ability to sell it and seem naturalistic in that, I mean, they're actors, that's what they do, but it is a very different type of performance. They're talking to the camera in a way that is not what actors do, technically.
I think you're right. I think in acting, the actors had to be good enough for us to believe them when they're basically doing selfies for much of the movie.
Right.
But then I think the technical feat is weaving this together in a way that's believable. And I think we got the technical feat of them, like where the camera placement is supposed to be, how they're all interacting with each other. I will say one of the weaker parts of this movie, and I don't think it's weak for everyone, it's just weak for me because I'm an avid movie watcher, is that they spoon feed you what's happening as it happens.
Oh, sure.
And you can hear people, and I feel like the trigger I kind of got was something would be shown on television, and then someone in the theater would yell it out.
Right.
They'd be like, oh, yeah, no, that's the guy. Yeah, he did it. Right. And I'd be like, no, we know. Like, the movie spoon-feeding it to us. Did that take you out of the movie at all?
I mean,
not just the yelling, I mean just the spoon-feeding, no,
it didn't take me out of it as much. I think because in those moments, we're supposed to be learning it as she's learning it.
Yes.
If it were something where that was, like, being relayed later and they were doing that, then it would have felt more awkward. Yeah. But I think, again, like, that's a testament to, like, Storm Reid and kind of, like, her selling of that in the moment. Because it is a lot, like, she's her mom is missing. I almost said, like, she's searching, but that's the first movie. But, like,
close enough.
Same as, like, with John Cho in that movie. It's like they are playing someone who's, like, you're actually seeing a lot of moments where they're supposed to feel like nobody's looking at them, right? And so they both did a great job selling that, and I felt like, Storm Reid did a great job selling that, and that's part of why that was okay for me, and also because she's a younger character.
Yeah. I think she also did something, and watching it this time, there was something where she's looking at the screen, and she has a flash of recognition on her face, and I'm like, hey, yo, this is good acting.
Right.
Like, that's solid. There's times where, and you're right, there's a difference between a camera is on you and you have lines and you know what you're about to say next. But there's a difference between, like, when I'm sitting at home on my computer by myself and I'm like, oh my God. Or if somebody's in the room, you're like, hey, yo, like the reaction that you have is completely different. And I think they nailed that portion of it.
Yeah.
With all of that being said, like, do you think that, like, searching exists standalone, missing exists standalone? Do you think there's a universe where they make 5 more of these? Like, where do you think this goes from there?
Right? I mean, I think that they can. I think they can keep making them if they can keep coming up with interesting stories. I mean, in the first movie, it's the adult looking for their child, which if I'm remembering correctly, as part of it is like he's not as tech savvy and he's trying to understand these things. I did appreciate that this one changed that, and it's the younger person, and so there are certain things that are very native to her about the internet, and you see her like working them out, but they also take the time to show it in a way that I like when she has to download an app. You know, they like, even though they speed it up, they show that it's not like she saw that there's a thing and now she just clicks it and it's there. Like she has to go through the process of downloading it, blah, blah, blah. And they do it in a way that, you know, does take less time. But, you know, like at one point there, she's looking for the equivalent of a TaskRabbit in a country that doesn't use TaskRabbit, but she finds that version that they have, right? And like, I like that they showed us the logic of that, considering what they're trying to show us all the time, right? Like that, like, I think that those other moments, like you're talking about, worked for me because they kept that same level of like, we're walking you through it up for most of it. They did know when to speed certain things up. You know, like I said, we're not watching like a full-on download of like a .dmg kind of situation, but like
not .dmg.
.dmg, because that's what we saw. But yeah, it was. Like I think like to me the consistency of that is part of what sells it overall for me.
Yeah, I agree. I think they did it early on, especially so that we would know that she was tech savvy, and I think they did an excellent job of convincing us of that. So I really enjoyed that portion too. With all of that being said, we rate movies on a 5-star scale here. Right. So out of 5 stars, what would you give this movie?
I think this movie knows what it is, so I'm gonna go 4.
Okay.
Yeah.
I like that. I like 3.75 because I liked it and I would watch it again, and I would watch more of these.
I would too.
I will say there were just some parts of it where I'm just like, it just feels like they're solving the mystery fairly easily.
Right, some of it.
And I think that's where I'm just like, y'all are going, y'all just kind of like, you know where you're going. In terms of like good mystery films, I like things where they have to flash back and be like, you missed this. This one doesn't do that. It kind of like, it basically takes you step by step how to solve it. But that's the only thing that kept it short of 4. And I will say in the circumstances in which we watched it with those people, it made me realize that this was a movie that's ripe to watch with your friends, your families, aunties, cousins. Everyone's going to enjoy like, oh, what's going on? Yelling at the screen. And when this comes on streaming, I think it's going to see like kind of new life in a lot of ways. Yeah. So I mean, granted, these people treated it like we were streaming anyway. So what difference does it make? So yeah. I think 3.75. I'm happy with a 4. I think either one works for me.
So, I will say, when I was in the bathroom, the teens loved it.
Oh yeah.
The teens were like, that was amazing. It was so good. It was so well done. Which was like fun to hear, in part because it is very much obviously trying to show a teenager going through like technology and how they interact with stuff. So you know, I mean, they got a good review there from the teens.
Listen, if the teens like it, then I mean they're gonna make 100 of them. We know that. Daisy Rosario, let me ask you a question. Yes. What are you doing on February 11th, 2023?
Well, I'd like to think that I'm doing what every really smart person in the greater DC metro area is doing, which is I'm going to be at this really amazing show at the Miracle Theater in Capitol Hill. Starts at 8 p.m. Doors are at 7. Love on screen.
Uh-oh.
Live. Gonna be there.
She's not just going to be there. You are one of our panelists. How do you feel about our panel? How do you feel about the scene that you're bringing? Any hints about what you'll be bringing? I know you don't have it nailed down yet, so you don't have to say what it is. But any excitement about what you'll be bringing?
Yeah, I am excited. I'm excited about all the panelists. Like, they're just awesome people. Like, honestly, it's a great lineup. And if I saw this lineup excluding myself, I'd be like, that's a good lineup. I'm so happy to be a part of it.
Would you still go?
Oh, heck yeah.
Okay, just wanted to make
heck yeah.
You're like, good lineup. I'm busy that night.
No, I definitely would still go. I'm excited about all of the scenes. And in part, I'll tell you why. One of the things you were telling us when we were chatting about the show is that, love doesn't have to just mean romantic love.
Yes.
And that is one thing I love about movies in general, is like all the different stories and relationships that they tell. And I've had a lot going on in my family life and had a lot of friends stepping up. So that's been very special on my mind. So I've been thinking about all of that as I have been kind of narrowing down my choice. And I'm very excited to get to share it with an audience.
I am very excited for you to share that, and I'm very excited for all the listeners to hear it. If you haven't bought your tickets yet, you can still get them. There's a link in the show notes. We are very excited. Daisy Rosario, thank you so much for being with me today.
Thank you so much for having me, and also for, telling me that there was a sequel to Searching, because I had no idea.
I basically hit you up like, hey, you free Thursday? Because we gotta go see a movie.
Yeah. I hadn't seen a trailer. I hadn't seen a poster. Like this one had somehow completely escaped me. So, but I'm glad it didn't. I enjoyed it.
Well, I'm glad you watched it with me. Glad you saw it. And with that, Leaving the Theater is a production of OhitsBigRon Studios. Thomas Tyra of Bias Studios mixes the show. Thank you, Tom. Show art from Heather Wilder. Theme music by the mysterious Breakmaster Cylinder. For more information about Missing or Daisy Rosario, check out our show notes. You can follow me on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok at OhitsBigRon. That's at OhitsBigRon. You can find out more about this show and other OhitsBigRon Studios shows by following us on Instagram at OhitsBigRon Studios and on Twitter at OhitsBigRon Stew. That's STEW. Leaving the Theater will be back soon. Thanks for listening. All right. See, I walked by a speaker and I almost immediately ruined it. But I'm a professional. For more information about Missing or Daisy Rosario, check out our show notes. You hear me mess up that accent there? You hear that?
You have to put it on.
Okay. For more information about Missing...
Tickets are available until they run out.